Have you ever noticed how easy it is to feel tempted to buy something that, deep down, you know you don't really need? One click, one ad, one flash sale, and suddenly, there you are, with a new item in your cart and a fleeting sense of pleasure. But soon after comes the emptiness, the regret, and sometimes even guilt. Why does this happen? The answer is inside your head, literally, and its name is dopamine. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter, a natural chemical that your brain releases whenever you anticipate pleasure. But here's the key. Dopamine isn't the pleasure itself, it's the desire, the impulse, the urge to chase pleasure. It's what makes you click buy now, even when your rational side whispers, better not. It's what makes you feel like you need something, even when you can't explain why. Our brains were designed to seek rewards. In ancient times, dopamine motivated us to hunt, gather, find shelter, and survive. But in the modern world, the rewards have changed. Today, the hunt happens on e-commerce sites. The shelter is 10 easy installments, interest-free, and the reward is the notification that says, order confirmed. The problem is that, to your brain, the stimulus feels the same. Every time you see a special offer, your brain releases dopamine, and that surge creates a feeling of urgency. That's why you feel the need to decide quickly, to grab that limited time-free shipping. It's not a lack of willpower, it's biology. But that's exactly why we must learn to master dopamine instead of being mastered by it. The market knows this. Social media platforms, apps, online stores, they're all designed to capture your attention and constantly trigger tiny bursts of dopamine. Have you ever noticed how the notification button is always red? How sales banners flash in bright colors? How websites say things like, only 2 items left? None of that is accidental. It's all carefully designed to activate your brain's reward system and keep you in a state of pursuit, not satisfaction. Shopping addiction is one of the most silent addictions of modern life. It doesn't destroy you all at once, it erodes you slowly. First, you buy on impulse. Then, you buy to relieve stress. Soon, you're buying just to feel alive. And before you realize it, you're trapped in a cycle. Desire, purchase, brief pleasure, emptiness, new desire. A cycle that repeats endlessly and over time damages your financial, emotional, and even spiritual well-being. After 40, this pattern can become even stronger. Many men and women at this stage of life begin to feel a different kind of emptiness. Work no longer motivates as it once did. The children have grown, and material achievements lose their shine. Shopping becomes an unconscious attempt to fill an inner space, a search for meaning but carried out externally. The problem is, excessive consumption doesn't fill that space. It numbs it. And like any anesthetic, the effect wears off, and you need more. Dopamine is like a coin. On one side, it drives you to act, to seek, to achieve. On the other, it can trap you in constant craving, never allowing you to rest. And that's where the challenge of conscious prosperity begins. Learning to transform dopamine into purpose. When you buy something consciously, the pleasure doesn't come from the rush of excitement. It comes from alignment, from the coherence between what you want and what you truly need. For example, buying a good book about finance can release dopamine too. But that stimulus is constructive because the result empowers you instead of putting you in debt. Learning something new, investing in yourself, setting a financial goal, all of these release dopamine. But now, it's serving your growth, not your escape. Neuroscience shows that the brain can be retrained. You can train your dopamine. One of the most effective practices is to delay rewards. When you feel the urge to buy something, wait 24 hours. Just observe the impulse. Most of the time, it fades away. What remains is clarity, and with clarity comes the power of choice. Another practice is to generate natural dopamine without depending on consumption. Walk outdoors, exercise, meditate, learn something new, practice gratitude. All of these release dopamine in a healthy way, balancing the brain and reducing the need for artificial stimulation. You don't have to eliminate pleasure. You just need to change its source. Financial prosperity begins when you understand that money is energy, and consumption is one way of directing that energy. Every time you buy something you don't need, you're wasting creative energy. But every time you invest consciously, you multiply purpose. Money isn't the villain of the story. It's the mirror of your consciousness. And the more mature your consciousness becomes, the healthier your relationship with money will be. After 40, it's common to realize that what got you here won't get you there. And maybe the financial restart you're looking for doesn't begin with a new source of income, but with a new way of feeling pleasure. As long as pleasure is tied only to consumption, abundance will be fleeting. But when pleasure connects to growth, to freedom, to peace of mind, prosperity becomes lasting. Training your brain for prosperity means learning to feel pleasure from achievements that don't fit inside a shopping bag. It means feeling dopamine when you pay off a debt, when you make your first investment, when you see your savings grow, when you realize that you don't need to buy anything to feel complete. That is emotional and financial maturity, and it's also freedom. The world will keep trying to capture your dopamine. Ads will keep calling you. Triggers will keep firing. But every day, you can choose to respond differently. You can look at that impulse and say, I don't need this to feel good. That simple sentence, repeated with awareness, is one of the most powerful ways to reprogram your brain. Remember, dopamine is not your enemy. It's a powerful ally when placed in service of your true goals. Use it to create, to prosper, to learn, not to escape. Dopamine can be the energy of consumption or the fuel of transformation. You decide which one it will be in your life. Prosperity begins when you find joy again in what is essential, when simplicity regains its value, when new stops being the most important thing and true takes its place, and when dopamine stops being your master and becomes your servant, at your service, not against you. So, the next time you feel the urge to buy something on impulse, pause, breathe, ask yourself, do I really want this, or do I just want to feel something? And if it's only the emotion you're seeking, find it in another way. Find it within yourself. Because the pleasure of awareness lasts longer than the pleasure of compulsion. And the brain learns all it needs is love, patience, and practice. Dopamine is the messenger of desire, but consciousness must decide the destination. When consciousness leads, money finds its right path. And that's how prosperity is born. Not from the purchases you make, but from the choices you learn to make. If this video made you reflect, like, share, and comment. I choose the pleasure of awareness, not of compulsion. And check out our materials on financial mindset development in the first pinned comment. I'll see you in the next video.